All statements stated by the crew is all opinionated, not suitable for children. Marvel is indeed owned by Disney. We do not own any of the content that we discuss. No babies on deck. Hi everyone, I'm your Captain Sam.
First Mate Alyssa, and this is Canon Misfire.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I just know you usually say it, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Okay. Today we are going to be discussing more things that we like, but no one else quite likes. And it's gonna be everyone's favorite superheroes.
Marvel!
Particularly the MCU, because I'm lazy and I didn't want to read any
The comics. There's so many canon ships in the comics.
There's so many comics.
MCU.
The canon ships we're going to discuss are going to be, there's kind of a lot of them. It's going to be Tony Pepper, Thor Jane, Steve and Sharon.
And Peggy, kind of.
And some of Peggy. And then we're going to do my favorite, Natasha and Bruce. Scarlet and Vision.
Yes, and yeah.
I think that's it. I think it's all. I think it's all the canon ships that we are going to touch on. Because, didn't the Thor movies come out first before Iron Man?
Iron Man came out first.
Oh.
It's cool.
No, let's do it then. We'll talk about Tony Pepper.
Yeah, okay.
Because it is very beloved, I believed.
Yeah, and I mean, I like it okay, but I know you don't.
We'll get there. So, Iron Man 1, he gets trapped. Basically, if you haven't seen Marvel, don't listen. But, Tony he's a fucking idiot. He's kind of a fuckboy. He gets trapped in the desert because he's a fucking idiot. He Jerry something himself out of the desert and out of captivity by making an iron suit, comes back to the States and is like, I'm gonna be better because I almost fucking died.
Like, he's the guy who's had everything and now he's just like has to turn it all on his head. And
now he's like, I'm gonna do something with all the shit I have, which is pretty admirable.
Yeah.
And his right main man is Pepper Potts.
Yes.
It's his secretary, I believe, by this point.
Yeah, and he's always kind of overlooked her. Like, he's never, like, before all of this, like, he didn't really, like, we don't really know a lot about their relationship, but you can tell that he probably took advantage of her, like, being, like, a secretary.
Being around and
doing what
and
just,
she
like,
says,
she's, like, my friend, but, like, I just don't, like, he doesn't, like, act on his feelings, really, at all.
I don't think he has feelings per se, maybe.
Yeah, I know, like, he literally has so, like, it's implied that he, like, fucks so many people.
Okay, so many women.
And Pepper's just there through it all, just like that, I'm gonna kick you bitches out.
And then there's Iron Man 2, there's Iron Man 3, and there is Avengers. And I don't want to explain every movie.
Yeah, but
basically, she goes from being secretary to being the boss, because he kind of gives his whole company to her while he does this Iron Man thing. And then she goes from being the boss to being girlfriend, essentially. Is it like girlfriend,
They
boss,
have a weird, rocky relationship, honestly.
They're like on and off a lot.
Yeah.
All I know is, as of right now, they're pseudo about to get married.
Yeah.
From Avengers Infinity War.
Right.
They were going to get married, and then some shit happened, and who knows if Pepper's even around anymore after the snapping.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. You know, thinking about it, like, I kind of like it. I feel like she's in a good place for him, but, like, honestly, no, it shouldn't work.
So you don't think it works?
I don't. I
personally think for his type of character, I see why she was around for so long. I feel like now that we're at the place we are with our superheroes, I'm in the mindset that he doesn't need a romance, but I'm also in the mindset that he might just need to settle down and stop superhero.
My thing is, like, they've just had so many, like, ups and downs and, like, all over the place. Like, some of the movies, they're just kind of, like, bickering and yelling at each other. It's kind of uncomfortable to watch sometimes. Like, it's a lot. And I feel like it's hard. It's, I guess, like, somewhat realistic, but I see more downs than ups in their relationship.
But could you argue that that's what makes them interesting? Because they are more human because of that.
Yeah, no, I do like that in
Okay.
some aspects. But I just think as far as, like, a couple that we should, like, really, really root for right now, they've had so much. It's hard.
Yeah, I think they're probably their time has run out, and now, even though a lot of people like their like they like the history that they have, I personally just find it as when they broke up in that one movie. It was between a couple of movies. I believe it was between
Civil War.
Yeah,
I think that was when they, like, really broke up.
Yeah. Civil War between Spider-Man. I feel like they should have stayed broken up, only because that would give Tony more character. He's had the most character, in my opinion, in most of the movies because he's had the most movies. He has most time to develop his character. Him breaking up with Pepper is like a full circle, like, yeah, man, things don't get easier even when you try to become better. And I just think it would have been nice to see him retire, maybe looking back on his life fondly instead of having another go at it. But he had another go at it because they needed him for more movies, and
I mean, in a lot of ways, I think they both kind of deserve more. Like, I think in some ways, like, Pepper expects Tony to be something that he can't, really.
She's not ride or die.
Yeah. And, like, and he, like, she needs to, like, it's gonna end in tragedy.
I feel like in the comics, she's more ride or die.
Yeah.
Than in the movie, they portray her. And that could just be writing in general. But, yeah. So, final opinion, because we don't want to go too long on just one ship here. Do you feel it works?
For me, I feel like it's kind of the same as their relationship. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't for me.
Okay. For me, I feel like it definitely works for who he is, but I'm tired of seeing it.
I feel that.
Okay, cool. So now we're doing Thor
and Jane.
And so Thor 1, Thor 2, which is the Dark World.
Yeah. And
then that's it.
But honestly, they made the best decision by stopping it there.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
So Thor is an alien. He's from space. Jane's an archaeologist?
Yeah.
No? A weather scientist?
I think
she likes clouds.
She studies something. She's studying something out in New Mexico.
She's science, bruh.
She's science something.
Okay.
Astrophysicist?
Something. I don't remember.
Something of that nature.
This is how insignificant she was. That's rude. So
yeah, no, like, we're trying not to, but, like,
I feel like the reason romance works for them in the beginning, it's sort of like the person who introduces him to Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the second movie, she's like one of the main key elements of the story. Mm-hmm. And she gets some red shit in her, which is one of the Infinity Stones, and they have to, like, do their fucking science magic to get it the fuck out of her. That whole time in the beginning of the movie, she was, like, pining for him to come back and stuff like that, and it was making her kind of distracted from her work and her life.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like they were just not good for each other. So in the third Thor movie, where they were like, we're taking a break, I think it's good that it's over. It's good to imagine Thor beyond that, because I feel like since Thor 3, he has better options.
I honestly feel like by 3 for sure, he's almost like a whole new guy. Like, he's finally, like, seen what's important in his life. And Thor 1, like, I feel like it's the classic romance of, like, that kind of, like, girl waiting for, like, something to happen, and then poof, here he is. And it's a lot. They don't, and I'm just gonna be honest, I don't think they have that much chemistry either.
I mean, yeah.
I just, like, after, like, 2, I couldn't see that she'd even still, like, think about him that much.
Yeah. She was kind of, like, mentioned a few times, but never seen, and I know the reason that they stopped is probably contract reasons, but I think personally I like it better when Thor is not with somebody committedly because of the type of personality he has. So in 3, he's a lot more like, he knows himself better, and he's cracking jokes, and he's, like, around, and he's doing his best, and he's saving the galaxy and stuff like that. And then Valkyrie shows up. And they have, like, this weird, like, sexual tension, but they don't ever act on it. But you can tell, like, they're digging each other. And it almost seems, like, up in the air and, like, Will they, won't they? And I enjoy that more.
I do too, because honestly, like you're saying it, like they didn't have like any tension, I don't think, in like the first one.
Not really.
There was like nothing. It's like, do these people, like, would they even want a bone?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But you see Thor and Valkyrie look at each other and they're like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And then that's it. No one talks, no one kisses, no one does any of that stuff. It's just good mutual, like, we might fuck once, but that might be it. Who knows?
I feel like that works because, like, Thor's, like, all over the place. He has to, like, run a kingdom. He has to, like, he's like the most, like, Marvel of Marvel characters, I feel like, in some ways. Like, the most, like, unbelievable to human life kind of superhero.
Yeah.
So, like, pairing him with, like, just, like, a normal Earth girl, which, I mean, she's a scientist and everything, it doesn't work.
Yeah, not really.
They don't have much in common, and it's just really
She was good for some plot information, and then that was it. Okay, did it work?
No. Mm-mm.
I don't think it did, and I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, me too.
How do you feel about Valkyrie Thor? I mean, we don't know if Valkyrie's dead or not, but...
I mean, if it does end that way, I won't be, like, disappointed if they can handle it well, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. So.
Yeah, it's in the air for me. I would like to see that tension get explored, but I don't want it to become, like... I feel like if once they do, it becomes a real thing, and then it becomes another Jane situation where
I hope
he has this woman when I think he needs like, more freedom.
Honestly, just him just having like an on and off like sex thing with her would be just like great. But I know it's PG-13. You can't like super imply it.
True.
But I feel like that would work for him. Like, I don't think he's in the place right now to be looking for a relationship. He's out for revenge.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't even know. It's up in the air if he's even going to live by the end of the next movie.
True.
So, here we go.
Okay, so now we're going to do Captain America, which is Steve Rogers, and Sharon Carter, which is Agent 13.
Yeah. Oof, rough.
So my favorite character is Captain America. And his little romance in the first movie with Peggy Carter felt organic because of the time period that they reside in. So I felt like, yeah, this woman that could kick his ass, who also sees him on the same level, who he respects on the same level as an authority figure and as a person in the military, 100% for it. Especially within that time period, especially the type of character he is.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Okay, he gets frozen.
Mm-hmm.
He has to come back, and she's old as fuck.
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
And I think he still loves her very much. I think he loves her so much that he didn't even consider other women. They had that weird movie, what was it? Winter Soldier. And Winter Soldier, there was like, they were trying to pair him off with Natasha. Like, sorta what it felt like in that movie. Because they had, like, I feel like
Natasha just flirts a lot.
They kissed and whatever. But I feel like that's Natasha doing her job.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't jive correctly.
For me, I like their tension, but I like that they didn't go that route because I like them to get, like, not like as a couple, but I think that they're a really fun duo.
Yeah, and I would love to work together.
I would love to see them, like, get, like, be together, not, like, together, but, like, just, like, see them kicking ass together because it's, God, I love that dynamic.
Yeah, definitely. That's why they're a good team.
Mm-hmm. And, like, flirty. I like their flirts. I think it's fun.
That didn't work. They tried that and that didn't work. And then in Civil War, it's a niece of Peggy Carter.
Unfortunate. Yeah, it's like her niece.
Yeah, and her name's Sharon Carter. And she was inside the other movie as, like, the girl who lived in the flat next to him. Turns out she was actually an agent working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Then she's, like, in Civil War more, like, they put her in scenes more, but there still wasn't, like, why is she here type of thing. She's not really part of the team, but she is working for S.H.I.E.L.D., so she is part of the team sort of feeling.
It's a very, it's an awkward kind of dynamic.
Yeah, and then she kisses him
in the most cringy.
In a scene that made all of the people cringe. because it was so out of nowhere and so unnecessary for the time, and his buddies were watching. It was a lot of problems.
I feel like for me, like, I backtracked to the point, like, right after the wedding, and then, like, oh, not wedding, what am I talking about? Funeral. So your niece just, or, like, your aunt just dies, and then for, like, Steve, like, your old love just dies. Oh, let's go to the
soulmate.
niece.
Yeah, like, his soulmate just fucking died.
It just, you know what it reminds me of is just, like, I've just, like, lost, like, my one, so I'm gonna go for the niece. Like, I'm just gonna, like, upgrade to, like, this new version.
The younger model?
Yeah, like...
The newer model?
And I feel like that's such, like, a stupid, like, it's just awkward. It's just uncomfortable.
It feels weird.
It's, like, creepy uncle kind of vibe. I don't like it.
He's so old.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, Captain America is a good dude, but, like, putting him with her is just a very bad decision.
So did it work?
No.
Whew, it was uncomfortable.
I feel like, honestly, that would be my worst.
So we're talking Hulk and Black Widow now?
Yeah.
So what happened is this was only available in one movie, and that was Age of Ultron, which is arguably one of the ones that people don't like the most.
And as a personal opinion, it's one of my least favorites.
It's my favorite
MCU.
Movie. For reasons do not have to do with plot or structure, because I know it is lacking both.
You know what? It's okay.
It's because of robots. It's 100% because of robots.
What? No shame. I have, like, somebody I know that likes it just because of Black Widow's ass. So, you know,
hey,
there you go.
There you go.
People have reasons for liking things.
So
here we go.
Tony had put the world in turmoil again, even though he promised he wouldn't do that shit again. He did it again.
He was trying to help.
Yeah, he always tries to help, though.
Yeah, that's his issue.
And Black Widow, the whole group is there, and Black Widow and Bruce have some weird tension between them, like almost sexual, like whatever tension that I feel the same way that Thor and Valkyrie had between them, but it almost gets fleshed out to the point where they're even considering, like, we can't even be together because how can this even work? You're this and I'm this and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then the end of the movie comes, and she's the main thing that calms him down, and is also the main thing that starts him up into being Hulk. And shit goes down, Hulk leaves, Natasha's alone, and that's the end of their weird summer romance, if you want to put it that way.
That's a way to put it. I don't like it at all.
There's one more mentioning in Infinity War where they finally see each other again after so many movies, and it's not even touched upon. Like, they look at each other and they're like, hey, and they're like, hey, and then there's no time for it, so no one talks about it.
I'm happy with it. I'd like if they never even mentioned it at all.
Okay, so here's the thing. You don't like it, obviously.
Yes.
I like it. And we're going to go one-on-one. So first, your reasoning for not liking it.
Okay, just because I feel like I'm about to burst. But
yeah.
Sorry, guys. I know it's not the best. But honestly, I don't like just how it feels. First off, they kind of feel like they hint at Natasha with everyone. Like we said, like Captain America. Also, I felt like in Avengers 1, they kind of like were like, ooh, her and Hawkeye maybe. Like, I get it. Like, she's the sex appeal. She's really pretty, of course. So but I want something really good for her. And then, like, when it happened with Hulk, like, I really didn't like it. Like, I don't like that, like, she, like, does that, like, thing with the arm to him. Like, for me, like, I felt like it was just building on tension that was based off of, like, fear in the first movie. And I don't like that their relationship is based on fear, I guess. Like, where that started. I guess that's just where it starts for me. And then just seeing all of that built up. And I also hate the whole, like, I'm a monster because I can't get pregnant. That makes me so mad. But that's just, like, as a feminist thing. And that's just Joss Whedon. So here we go. Why do you like it?
Okay, so it's a little more... I'm going to add on that I also don't like the weird pregnancy thing. I felt like that was something that was just random. I didn't see the point of it.
It was rough.
I do acknowledge that there was this fear of him because he's this giant monster and she's like a human when they first meet. Totally saw that in And, like, Hulk doesn't have, like, full control of his emotions and body, obviously, because that's how his power works.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost felt like, I guess, predatory, you might feel.
That's how I felt with it at first.
I see it differently.
Okay.
So when I saw that first scene, when they first meet, she, even though she's scared of the Hulk, I feel like Natasha works good under pressure. So even though she was freaked out and, like, thrown for a loop because she hadn't done anything like this before with this type of level of action, it almost felt like she still was 100% in control of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was dodging and she was flipping and she was shooting and she was doing all she had to do and get him back down to the size that she knows she can handle him at. They meet as humans, so she knows there's a human in there. So she respects him as a person because she's the one who goes and grabs him from India.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the respect comes from, was from that battle and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't see anything else after that. And then in Ultron, what I started to notice, not only was it like her flirting with everyone, it almost felt like she was giving him the most time of day. Like the most of her respect. Like the most level, like on purpose or whatever. Because she flirted with Tony when she had to because it was a job. And she flirted with Captain because she had to because it was a job. She was flirting with Bruce and they just had a party with their friends. So I feel like her flirting with him was intentional, not something that was a product of doing work. So that was my first thing. And then as the movie goes on and they show that she's the only one who can calm him down, I don't know how they figured that out because it came out of left field. But I feel like the tension and the chemistry between the actors is what fueled that motion.
You know, I could see that.
But I know in the majority of the comics they've been following for these movies, there's no mention of anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
So then when they have that, like, scene or whatever, and everyone knows that that's something that's been going on, but they don't know how severe it is, and they're in the farmhouse, and they're having that talk in the same bedroom, because they put them in the same bedroom, because everyone feels it. Everyone feels it, but no one mentions anything. Mm-hmm. We only got so many beds, guys. Uh-oh. There's a bed for you. I'm off track. Okay. So basically, what I'm seeing from this is he's like, I can't have kids because of gamma radiation. Totally get that. That's not something he's able to do because he's done messed up. She's like, I can't have kids anyway because of the horrible things that I've gone through. That's what they should have said. Because of the life choices she ended up having to go through, she can't have children, he can't have children.
Yeah.
I don't like how that means they both can't be together. I think they should have taken it in the direction where they had been like, oh, well, now I know this information about both of us. What is the real reason we're not together? What is actually holding us back then? They don't touch upon that at all.
Yeah.
And then when the movie finally ends up and they're like, at the end of the film, she got him to be the Hulk just by, like, making him angry. And he appreciates it because he wasn't ready to do that because he promised he wasn't going to anymore. Mm-hmm. And she's like, nope, I need all of you. And then pushes you through. That's her being in control of the situation again. And it's also her, like, knowing and respecting all of him. The Hulk part, the him, like, the Bruce Banner part, all of him. Mm-hmm. So I found that really endearing and kind of sweet. And then near the end where he ends up leaving because that's the part I couldn't quite understand. Mm-hmm. He left when she obviously was ready to give herself to him, like, fully, and he up and goes. And I don't know where it really came from. But I almost felt cheated. Like, there was good build-up for me. Like, I was on board for the ship. I was ready to go. And then it got yanked out from under me. And then in the rest of the films, Infinity War, when they see each other again, and they don't, like, even acknowledge it almost, what it seems like.
I can see how you feel
I felt like it
robbed.
was a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Like, you guys didn't go all the way in. Yeah, I know it's different directors and whatever, but the continuity is really important for these types of movies. So I'm like, the fuck happened, guys? I was all ready to go. You gave me some bittersweet end. I was like, you know what? I can live with that bittersweet end as long as it gets picked up and solved in another movie. So I'm really hoping in Endgame they do something about it. That's the reason I like it. I know it's a lot of things, and I know you're just like, I hate it, it's uncomfortable. Me, I'm just like, I'm ready to see more.
No, it's funny though, because like I'm just like I kind of hope they don't mention it anymore.
Right.
But I feel like these are just like our opposite opinions, and I was thinking about it too, like when you were talking about like how she like pushed him down. Like I feel like another reason I didn't like that was because I feel like she was like almost now taking advantage of him. He didn't want to be the Hulk, and so then like it just felt unhealthy to me.
I understand that. I can see that point of view.
So it just feels like we just have like the different like views on it.
So did it work?
No.
I think it could have worked if they would have continued it.
Yeah. It's rough. Like now I'm thinking I don't really have a lot of like Marvel canon ships that I really like think that they're doing well. I like the movies best when I feel like they don't force a romance or there isn't a romance in it.
Keep that thought because we're going to get back to it. Because now we have to talk about Scarlet and Vision.
Okay, never mind.
So Scarlet and Vision. Scarlet's a character that showed up. Vision showed up in the same movie. They all started from the same origin point. That movie was Ultron.
So the reason I said that was, like, I was thinking about it, and, like, I wasn't really on board in Civil War that much for Vision and Scarlet Witch. But then by Infinity War, I'm like, you know what? I get it. Mm-hmm. I like it. You know what? It really works for me.
So they both show up in Ultron, but, like, we don't ever touch on it again. Mm-hmm. And then, like, you're right. The Civil War happens, and there's, like, tension.
Yeah.
And there's that little cooking moment that's really cute. And then there is the fight that kind of ruined everything. And now Infinity War. And Infinity War happened. And it was like, oh, man, yeah.
No.
We all accept this is the romance. This is the romance that we're all on board for.
And maybe it's just me loving tragedy. But honestly, like, I feel like when it came to them, like, Ultron, there really wasn't any, like, it was just,
they were born. Yeah. They were both born, essentially.
Yeah, which I feel like also works because they kind of, like, were in the same place, kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, that was where everything started. And then Civil War, I just thought that, like, their, like, little interactions were cute, but what I think I liked the most about it is that by the end, I could just see, like, their whole romance, and it wasn't, like, a big plot point. Like, it was just something in the background that ended up being really cute.
Yeah, because we don't see what happens between, like, they've been living with each other for a time and doing missions. We don't see any of that time. We just see, like, the end. And it already established that they had been living like this and going through stuff and having these conversations.
Domestic life.
Yeah, and I like it. And Vision is wearing human clothes and trying to be normal and trying to be human. And Scarlet's like, you don't gotta be human. We're both not human. It's cool. And all this other stuff. But then the difference is between what they want. It separates them, but not enough to break them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really nice.
I thought that was so sweet. Like, just, like, for me, like, they feel like a natural, normal couple, like, making dinners together, like, being sweet together. It's not too much like, oh, no, you're a superhero, and I can't love you, and this is gonna be super hard. Like, there's none of that. They're supers together.
I don't want to stutter. So what I like... I also like that in Infinity War, they both sides give them time to be together. Because they are a family, and they both still appreciate each other, both sides. Enough to, like, okay, your little weekends with your boo, it's all good and stuff. Remember, one of you's in hiding, and the other one's not supposed to be associating. Don't get caught. I like that. I like that everyone gave them room to be together. So I thought that was cute. I wish there was more to say other than the fact that I think it works out really well. I think they balance each other out. And in the comics, they're, like, a really good... Like, all of these are from the comics. But in the comics, they're even, like, really solid, too. They even have kids together.
Wow.
Like, it gets to that point. It feels like the most domestic and normal relationship between the two most unnormal characters.
And I feel like that's what works. It's, like, they're, like, both, like, the outcasts. And, like, they found each other in the midst of all of the chaos. And, like, they are, like, they're on the same level of power. Like, we saw that in Civil War. Like, she could bring him down, and he could, like, bring her back, too. It's I mean, so
they're
sweet.
both working with Infinity Stone power. So, yeah, they are on the same level. Scarlet Witch is actually more powerful than him in the comics. She's
Yeah.
more powerful than most in the comics.
Oh, and in the Civil War, too, when she, like, made him, like, stand still and everything, too. Like, it shows that she does have technically more power, but, like, the fact that these, like, overpowered beings, like, found each other, it makes a lot of sense for me.
So, does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it does, too. And that moment where she had to kill him.
Oh, that's what got me.
That was the icing on the motherfucking cake.
Oh my god, I see like posts like, oh, Scarlet Witch just ruined the world just because she wanted to save her toaster or her sex robot, and I'm like, but they're perfect.
So now that we've gone through each ship, if it works or doesn't work, I want to talk about the way the MCU handles shipping canon in general, like pairing off partners. I think they've gotten better, but I find it as an issue as I don't want to see any of it anymore.
I'm with you.
Back in the day when they would add in the romance and the girl would be like the main part of the stories in those early movies like Iron Man 1 and Thor 1 and all like the first Hulk, that horrible movie. Oh. But yeah, romance is like one of the main points in their Marvel movies in the beginning. It's because they're such a main point in the comics in their early incarnations, and it's the beginnings. I like to see that now romance is more of like something that happens to certain characters that we get to see, but it's not touched upon. Of course, there's some backtracking like they did with Captain and Sharon, but like there is also like characters like Scarlet and Vision where we see it happening and we accept it, and it's not a big plot point anymore.
I think, honestly, what also helps with that is we are sick of seeing the romance, so when it came to Scarlet and Vision, like, since so much of it was implied, and none of them have, like, their own movies, I felt like it was more believable that, like, real connection was being made instead of, like, how we see it with, like, Tony and Pepper, and we see all of their ups and downs, all of their fights, all of it.
It's like watching your parents.
And it's, like, so much of that movie, it's like, we want to see, like, we don't watch superhero movies just for, like, the romance. I remember, like, somebody said, like, oh, women only watch, Marvel and superhero movies for the romance, and I'm like, that is not true at all.
Like, if I had my choice, I wouldn't see any romance. I can live with just sexual tension between characters and maybe some nods or some hints. I don't want to see full-on smacking on screen. I want more fights, motherfucker, more fights.
Yeah, we want to see some fighting. We want to see some angst and everything.
I want to see some powers being thrown. Shit.
This is why we watch superhero movies, and, like, romance doesn't have to be this huge-ass part of it. I don't get why it is.
Yeah, I feel like that's what also suffers in other comic books, like you said before we cut it. The Spider-Man one, like in DC. That's the thing, it's just like stuff I don't want to see it anymore. I'm done. I'm over it. So that in general. But I think the Marvel has taken from their early to their current, it's progressed nicely. Like I said, some hiccups, but it has gotten there. And I think now we're seeing less of the romance and more fighting like I wanted initially anyway. Now it's more like these characters have partners and it has to be addressed what's happening to both of them in the time. So like Infinity War, as in one of the most recent movies, Pepper and Tony have to be addressed because they're about to get married. It's already been decided that they're about to get married. This is like right before they're about to get married. We have to talk about what's going to happen to the both of them and why, how that's important. Like with Scarlet and Vision, it's already been established that their relationship, we have to see how the relationship's going to crumble under the idea of war itself and Thanos. I think the movies are just following a natural progression of comic storytelling, and I think we're finally getting to the point where it's not necessary anymore.
Yeah, I feel like we have, like, and that's the thing, too, it's like Doctor Strange has a girlfriend. There's a lot of people that have, like a lot of the new ones, like, they have, like, romances, and I'm glad that it's just kind of, like, a background to, like, what's going on now.
Doctor Strange, yeah, that was one of the ones.
Yeah, you know what that's just what I'm thinking, like, I feel like that's the natural progression.
We both agreed that we had something, or we have something, but now it's not important to any other story ever again.
Yeah, now it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go back home to my wife now. Yeah. Alright, time to save the world, back to my wife. And not be like, oh, now she's in the middle, and now, like, the supervillain has her, and it's this big whole thing. It's
right.
No, she's
like
just
with Hawkeye and his family. He's like, I get called every once in a while to do hero work, but my family lives on a farm where I feel the most comfortable and relaxed.
See, I feel like it
I'm
works.
down.
I
Yeah.
like that. It's like we don't have to focus just on like their romance because like a lot of the shit, like you don't want to get your significant others involved unless like they're at the same level as you power wise.
Exactly. Super romance.
Superhero romances.
So, do Marvel romance work?
I would say honestly, I don't. I think I have like the one example that I like, so I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm glad we're moving away from it, and I hope we stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away, Marvel. Don't touch any more of them. No more romance, please. Thank you. Have a good day.
Let's just see more punching in the faces and like we can imply things.
Exactly.
Imply.
Okay, so you can definitely hit that subscribe button. Follow us wherever you find podcasts. And hope you have a great day.